Welcome in, everybody. This is the Final Form Podcast. I am your host, Dave, joined by my fellow weebs, Alki and Kyle, and we are continuing our coverage of solo leveling with episode 18, Don't Look Down on My Guys. Now, this is the kind of solo leveling content that we look forward to each and every week, just seeing Sungjin Woo completely flex his powers and seeing what new heights he can achieve. And this time, he has another audience to view those new heights that he's going to achieve. To me, this was a 10 out of 10 episode. Just obviously an entire battle took place involving Carr. So I imagine our podcast recording here will be a little bit quicker, but you never know since we seem to gush a little extra always. But enough from my perspective. Kyle, Alki, what were your guys' thoughts on the episode?
I think my thoughts align pretty much exactly with the kind of what I've been reading on the internet, mostly being the solo leveling Reddit. They do the episode discussion. We talked about it before. They always have the poll, and it was, almost every person voted this episode is excellent, like being the highest ranking possibly to give it, and then all the discussion was about the quality of the fight animation and choreography. And yeah, I mean, it was just, they teased us last episode. We thought we were going to get into a little bit. Was it worth the wait? At this point, now that we're past the wait and I've watched it, of course it was worth the wait. It was fantastic. I had a blast watching it, so it's just, it bodes well for the future as well, of like, there haven't really been any missteps. Any complaints you could really have seem to be kind of minor things of like changes that they're making. But when you really read the list of changes that they've made, the overwhelming majority of them are non-consequential. And it's just like, we're just eating so well, like this is what we envisioned when we read the manhwa and then heard it was getting an anime adaptation. Like, this is exactly what we could have hoped for, and we're getting it, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
He is the boss, dude. He's deserving of the title of the anime, solo leveling. He fucking can solo shit, dude. He's a boss.
You see it all.
And he grew his army. He added somebody awesome and strong to his arsenal, to his army, if you will. And I just think that the animation is so good. The ruler's hand again was awesome. It gets better and better every single time.
Can't agree more. This is what we live for, Kyle. You put it perfectly in terms of they couldn't have done it any better. Usually we're, chock full of complaints trying to make sure that it's living up to the source material. But this one, it's so hard each week to find any complaints, if at all.
Who has more aura, do you think? Is it Sungjin Woo, or is it Super Bowl MVP and champion Jalen Hurts?
Jalen Hurts.
You think
Sungjin Woo?
I'll take Jalen Hurts for the tiebreaker.
I don't know how people watch animes in general and like have this many complaints all the time. I get it that if you're dissatisfied with like a scene or two here and there, but unless the animation's bad or like something like that, the source material usually gets converted like 1-to-1 into the anime. So it's just like, what complaint could you have about seeing something actually moving? When you used to read it in stills.
I saw something where it's like, this is now the third most popular anime on Crunchyroll, like all time or something like that. Like, it just passed Jujutsu Kaisen in terms
all time.
Yeah, like One Piece is 1, Naruto was 2, I think, and then it was solo leveling. And then,
are you telling me that Attack on Titan's not on that list?
It's Crunchyroll, so it's a little different than like the IMDb and My Anime List ratings. But
good point.
I think it was something specific. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess Attack on Titan was on Netflix, so it was getting a lot of views and streams from there.
Yeah,
same with Demon Slayer.
That's why Demon Slayer's not on there either.
Yeah, but anyway, that's still telling.
Yeah,
if Jujutsu Kaisen is big time. Amazing. It's like big time. Yeah.
And if you haven't heard our coverage of that, go back and listen to it.
Listen.
But we're just gonna we'll try and we're just gonna knock out a couple of the small scenes first before we get into the big battle here. So I'll just start by saying that Cha decides to enter the dungeon with her cute little pickaxe and quickly realizes when she enters the dungeon from the bodies of the high orcs that were slain earlier that the situation is dire. Soon after she enters, the surveillance team shows up. Our boy Meet the Woo shows up. He's looking for Sung Jin Woo, and that's also what Cha was looking for. But as they try to enter the dungeon as well, they sense a great power coming from the dungeon. They reveal it to be an S-rank dungeon. It was, I believe, a C rank, if not an A rank. I can't remember which, but it is now an S-rank dungeon.
I think this one was the A rank one.
Okay. This was the A rank one?
Yeah, because they were like, last episode, they were like, how come these are C ranked monsters in this A rank dungeon with the dogs?
You're right.
Yeah. But it was supposed to be a doubleheader of C and A. Anyway, it's stronger than they anticipated.
Perfect. Okay. Now to the meat of the episode, which encompasses pretty much 95% of the episode, is we see Carr and our B squad with Sung back in the arena. Carr is flexing his aura and basically is explaining to all of them that they are only brought here for entertainment purposes. They're going to get killed at the end of the day regardless. And when he flexes his aura, this brings the B team to a complete halt, except for Ki-hoon. Shout out to Ki-hoon. Tries to make a valiant attempt at slaying Carr, but only just suffers the wrath of him and experiences multiple of different abilities that Carr has to offer. So shout out to Ki-hoon for trying to make something happen out of nothing. He knew he was going to die either way, so he just, I guess, wanted to get it over with quickly, but it was certainly not quickly.
I think it's cool how this orc is a mage and not like you'd assume an orc, the way he looks, he'd just be brute, you know, but the mage aspect is pretty sweet.
Definitely.
I like how they animated his powers too, with as like almost reminded me of like video game-esque.
Yeah, definitely.
Or like Grimoire, kind of like Black Clover. It was nice.
Is it Ki-hoon, you're saying?
I might have miswrote it, but I had it as Kihoon, Ki-hoon.
Okay. I wanted to confirm just because I was going to say his name.
Okay.
And I didn't have it written down, so that's why I asked that. But I would say shout out to him for not dying. I mean, how is his body not flat? He was just getting ping pong between the ceiling and the ground, and the ceiling and the ground, and the ceiling and the ground, and the ceiling and the ground. And they're all just sitting there like, holy fuck, what's going on? And obviously, you know, we've talked about this before. Maybe the number one law of solo leveling is that if there's a coolest way to do something, Sung Jin was probably going to do it that way. So the way he saves him is just awesome. He like asked for his permission to save him essentially. Like, okay, buddy.
Like
And
the politics are
hand.
involved because he's like, I know this is technically the White Tiger Guild's property. Can I still do something here?
Great stuff. And then he just stands face to face basically against Carr and was like, you're talking a lot of shit, buddy. You don't really know what you're getting into.
This is great because, yeah, Sung immediately awakens his undead shadow army. The battle begins. He opens with his new ability that he acquired from the Demon Castle after reaching level 70, I think it was. The Monarch's Domain, which is now what transforms our minions into purple soldiers, which shout out to Monarch's Domain because I love the purple too. I mean, the blue is great, obviously, but the purple, just a new look. It looks so clean.
The inspiration essentially for why the Final Form podcast background is the purple, you know, it just looks so good with the dark black. And I honestly had forgotten that was an ability.
Yeah, me too.
That he had that turns them purple. You know what I mean? Because I guess you don't really remember some small things along the way. I always remember them as purple, you know, and I was like, okay, maybe the anime's making the artistic change to blue. Maybe it just looks better and it moves better, you know, maybe it animates better, but I'm so glad that they're purple.
Yeah, I honestly completely forgot what it was. I thought that at some point they had reached a certain threshold of strength, which is why they became purple in the manhwa, but I think it is the ability from the manhwa, Monarch's Domain. I don't know if they revealed what it actually does here, and I can't remember what it exactly is from when he first got it, but I imagine it's just like a buff to the soldiers.
Yeah, that's what they said. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
The exact form of it, but that's what it is generally.
He freaking levels up so fast, dude. It's so hard to keep up. It needs to pace that way because of how strong the adversaries are becoming so quickly. But all of a sudden, he's casually mentioned his regular soldiers are B rank.
Yeah,
like that's insane, dude.
That is crazy.
Insane. And my favorite artistic detail of his army is that Igris retains the red ribbon
hairpiece
thing
ribbon,
on his helmet. I think it's awesome.
That was another great moment of this episode. Is we not only get to see Sung Jin Woo kicking some ass, but we see Tank, we see Igris, we see everyone kind of put in their own weight, and it was awesome to see because Tank's ability, his taunting ability, ended up working on the High Orcs when we saw that A rank Tank in the last episode try to taunt them, and they were completely unfazed by the ability. So just shout out to Tank being stronger than like an A rank Tank almost at this point. But
he's pretty cool. I love the Igris's like fruit ninja.
Yeah,
she's just like, I don't know why I always think it's a woman. It's a he. Sorry.
Yeah,
but
you do that.
I do that.
I remember as we were like reading and stuff too. It was the same way with you.
I don't know why I thought it was a girl.
The hair. It's
I think it's the S at the end of it. It sounds
feminine.
I guess it's ambiguous. Anyway, when he does that and it's like,
I mean, technically, Igris never has been gendered.
But
I guess.
he's no. I think Sung Jin Woo is called him he. Yeah. Anyway,
but at some point, Car's kind of gloating that Sung's mana is going to run out at some point and that his powers are going to run out. But of course, he has mana potions at his side. He consumes one, to which he then is able to use his Arise ability and now transform the dead High Orcs from Car's side onto Sung Jin Woo's side. Again, just leveling up his army power. I mean, like Alki had said earlier, his just normal knight soldiers were already at the rank of B, and these High Orcs already proved to be strong. So these things themselves have got to be A rank at this point, or at least super high B. But it was also really cool after this moment. Like, so Car starts to glitch here. We see this is the actual glitch. I know a couple episodes ago, or was last episode, when Car overtakes the orc, we weren't too sure if that was a glitch or if it was just the magic of him taking over the random orc's body. But here it was an actual glitch, and he's talking about how when he first opened his eyes in this place, I think he used the word place there specifically, he was just told to hunt humans. So going back into that whole system conversation, like what is Sung Jin Woo's ability? They've only ever seemed to glitch when Sung Jin Woo is around. They haven't really given us too much to assume from there, but something to note here, definitely. I don't know if you guys have any, without trying to obviously spoil anything for the viewers, but any theories that people could be crafting from this?
I think it's easy to draw the connection between the dungeons themselves as well. I think like we know that he obtained this power or access to the system through the trial he went through in the double dungeon. It's not the first time we've, this season we had Baraka, the ice elf, who kind of mentions to him, says some weird things, rewinds his audio, feels very, for lack of a better term, matrixy. We obviously get the very obvious glitches that happen here, and we talked about it a little bit before the podcast, and I don't have a confident recollection of the exact mechanism of why that is all occurring. And at first I feel like usually when that happens, when we talk about things that we've read and I'm like, damn, I don't remember that, like I feel kind of bad about it. But it honestly is, I feel more excited about it to get the answer through watching. We won't get this answer this season. That's just one of the big mysteries that this season has been treating us to every episode or so, while we obviously our eyes feast on the action and so on and so forth. But someone asked that question on the Reddit thread about the episode discussion, and someone just kind of said, hey, all will be explained in due time, probably next season. But if you're that impatient, read the manhwa. And someone responded to that, and this is why I'm bringing this up. And they said, I read the entire manhwa in 2 days this week. It's really addicting.
It is that. It's that easy.
Addicting. It really
is that easy.
And it literally, we all probably have a story about that. I literally remember staying up till 4 or 5 in the morning, like however many nights in a row, just reading and reading,
trying to catch up.
Yep. Yeah, Kyle, I think that synopsis though is you hit the nail on the head. Obviously, in any story like this where there's dungeons, like they're being spawned from somewhere. You know what I mean? You got to assume there's some kind of realm or something. Like any reader, watcher would be able to draw that conclusion. And because Sung Jin Woo encountered something unique, it has an important role in the whole story and behind the the dungeons as well. We just don't know what it is. And to be honest, it's like it's endgame shit that like even I couldn't even retell it right now if somebody asked me all the way.
It seemed like he was glitching from reacting to how strong Sung Jin Woo was, as if when he was expecting himself to just always be the strongest. He was told to hunt humans. He, I guess, assumed Carr, that is, thinking that he would never die and that he would just fulfill this voice all the time. And so it kind of shocked him to see Sung Jin Woo, and that kind of caused the glitch. And let's go into what you were saying, Kyle, with the Ice Elf Baraka or whatever his name was. Well, the question was, why is it telling? I think Sung was responding saying, why is the voice telling you to, or what are you doing here, or why are you killing these people? And just as Baraka was about to give his answer, he glitches and then re-asks for the people. So definitely has something to do with maybe Sung exploring more of his powers and maybe more of the dungeons themselves, like you were kind of saying, Alki, with these monsters have to be coming from somewhere. So just something to keep a note of. Definitely important here that they showed that for us. But to come to the second half of the battle here, we see this great shot of Carr kind of going all out. I love the song of Dragonfire alone as an ability, but when he spawns like 50 of the heads out at one time and Sung is just still dodging them, I thought that was really badass. And then the moment when the floor just becomes the entire song of Dragonfire. Carr had some really great powers. I personally am a big gravity guy, so I love seeing some gravity magic thrown in there. And Alki, I agree with you. Seeing an orc kind of do that here was really badass. And he has these 4 guards, Carr does, but they obviously throughout the battle are just completely taken down, and Sung is able to arise them as well. And it was cool seeing Carr also throw some hands for a little bit. That being said, about being surprised about his magic ability, we knew he was a mage, so I was kind of shocked to see him be able to keep up with the 4 orcs for a little bit there, just in hand-to-hand combat terms. But honestly, just a really beautiful fight here. There was a moment where Carr tries to use a curse on Sung Jin Woo. It works on everybody else in the room except for Sung, because he has, again, one of the most broken abilities of just never being able to be cursed or poisoned. And he's able to wipe the floor with Carr using the good old, our favorite ruler's hand, or whatever it is at this point. Just such a clean fight here. Amazing to see. And at the end of it all, of course, he reincarnates Carr as one of his new knights. His name is now Tusk, and Sung, he was immediately deemed a elite rank knight, an actual title of Sung's army. And I think this was the first time he had seen that, even with having Igris. So
yeah. So this implies he's the strongest.
That's what
soldier,
I took away,
right?
too.
That's what I thought.
That's what I took away too.
Tusk is a mainstay.
Tusk is a mainstay,
ladies
absolutely.
and gentlemen. Yeah, so he's cool. Shit, I had something at the tip of my tongue.
My question will be, for your subtitled this part of the scene, did it say Tusk or did it say Fang?
It said Tusk for us. Yeah, it said Tusk.
Okay, that's interesting, because the site that I watched on it said Fang, and people were worried going into this episode that they were going to change it to Fang.
Oh wow, really?
And I think
you didn't watch it on
like,
Crunchyroll?
It was some type of translation thing where, and we've experienced this through all the series that we've read, where it was, I think it was like the way it was said, but it was funny because the subtitles translated it to Fang, but the visual, because you get to see him like kind of type it in, and that said Tusk, which I was like, okay, like it's officially Tusk. I just thought it was funny that where I watched it, it was subtitled as Fang.
Even if it was Fang, that wouldn't be bad. But of course, we just know him as Tusk.
OG.
Yeah. So Fang wouldn't be bad, but I would like that they kept it the same, thankfully.
This is what I wanted to say, and I just really want to know how people power scale this anime with others, because like you think about, like, okay, I think he wipes the floor with like every Jujutsu Kaisen character besides maybe Gojo and Sukuna.
Yeah, I'm putting him in like Bleach category almost at this point, where
like he is crazy.
He's getting close. Like I don't think he would keep up with Ichigo per se, but he could definitely be, I think, a captain.
Like he could be in the Soul
Society as one of the captains. Yeah. If I were to guess, obviously there's no way for me
I don't
to
know about that.
that's actually
a big claim right there.
I would almost say he would be strong. It feels like he would be stronger than that. I
Right
guess
now, right,
maybe where we are.
yeah,
It's so tough. He can just summon all of those people
he
plus on
definitely
top of
solos
him.
JJK.
He solos
except for
maybe except for Gojo or Sukuna. I think that they could probably
Toji. He could probably work Toji.
he could probably work Toji, yeah, which is
I
nuts.
hate to admit that,
yeah,
but
which
I
is
think he could work
nuts.
Toji.
Even with all his
he feels very like, I feel like when I watch it, the way that it's animated and the movement reminds me of like watching Naruto.
Yeah,
I feel like
I
the
think
way
this
that he
episode
moves.
was.
Yeah. And I mean, he has the, the assassin type. It just reminds me of watching kind of Naruto fights.
he solos I think he pretty much works most people
It's
in
tough,
Naruto.
'cause now that I'm thinking about the Toji one too, I'm thinking if he didn't have the ability to summon a million people, like if it was just him by himself fighting Toji, that'd probably be a great fight.
Yeah.
But the fact that he can summon hundreds of strong beings in
exactly.
themselves just puts him over the edge.
His powers. But yeah, just him alone, like in just straight up hand-to-hand combat, like he is so freaking strong. I would love to watch that epic battle, whatever YouTube channel.
Him versus Jinmo Ri.
Him. Oh my god, that would be crazy.
That would be
because Jinmo Ri gets to some levels at some
level.
point, dude. Like it's
Well, dude, it has to be. We had to think like end of series versions of all of them would be a very interesting conversation. I will say the hand-to-hand stuff with Tusk, just that when you said that, it reminded me of it, that I read that was an addition that the anime made.
That did feel. That's probably why I wrote it down, because I was kind of truly shocked to see it. That was cool though.
And Tusk is a mage, like as a soldier too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I like too that they
wink. They 3 mages in Sung Jin Woo's army use the Orb of Avarice to help kind of subdue Tusk a little bit. In his car days, So
I liked like you mentioned, Dave, that scene with all of the dragon heads.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked that they included that it was killing orcs and the shadow soldiers.
Yes.
But I laughed at the fact that the whole Hunters Guild squad was like there and completely unscathed. I mean, like, listen, that's the way it goes in these things, but it did make me laugh that they put it out there that it was killing soldiers on the battlefield and that whole squad was Jay chilling.
Yeah, that might have been right before the one guy valiantly is like, all right, let's get out there and provide support, and then it's just 50 dragon heads, and it's like, maybe not.
That was like his eyes like are gone. He gets cursed of all the curses and things like that. You know what I mean? Carr was not really messing around. It was interesting too when he is kind of hallucinating, let's say, Carr, before the final blow is dealt, and he's having again these glitchy flashback to like a previous life, or is it like when he first woke up? Like it's the extent of his memories, thing like that. So I just hope people that are watching it, it's obviously, because I think when people who are familiar with the series pitch it to people that aren't familiar with the series, I think also the way that the show is probably leading into the marketing is that it's kind of pure power fantasy. It's really just like we're watching this guy get strong and just beat the shit out of people progressively and stronger and stronger and stronger people. But I hope people are latching on to that like undercurrent story of like what is actually happening here. I think the show's doing a good job of making the scenes obvious. We know it begins to play a bigger and bigger role. Hopefully we get, some of that by the end of this season and stuff. But man, it's just been a great ride.
Yeah, and to wrap things up here, we have a couple scenes left, but Cha and Wu are both now witnessing Sung finish off Carr here and use his powers all accordingly, arise, summonings, all that, and they're completely blown away by the madness that is Sung Jin Woo. Yeah, Sung is escorted out essentially by Wu. Go ahead.
I love that he's like, oh, I completely forgot everyone was here. Oh, I was just zoned the fuck in, just going to work. Did not realize everyone was watching, because I think up until this point, I mean, he showed the power obviously to people, but he made it a very specific point to avoid people seeing him trying to claim Baruka's shadow in the Red Gate, and obviously people saw what happened here. So
yeah, because in the Red Gate it was only 3 people that had survived, if that 4, and again, like you said, they hadn't seen him use the Arise itself, and now they have officially seen the whole Sung Jin Woo kit, basically. And
Yeah.
Woo does help escort Sung Jin Woo out, knowing that Sung still wants to keep his identity kind of hidden still, at least until it goes public. They've alluded to it in the show. It's going to be tomorrow via the news. But we get a really touching moment here from Ki Hoon, who shows his gratitude to Sung Jin Woo. And it was nice seeing Sung Jin Woo react to it as well, not having really hopefully lost an emotion during this battle, but also returning the note to the one mage saying, guess you don't really need to hand me your will anymore. So I really love that moment. I think Ki Hoon also, this is a character who in the manga I kind of forgot about, but I think he did a really great job in the anime, and I'm glad they kind of gave him a little bit of spotlight to show the kind of person that he is here, because definitely spoke to me. I don't really remember him from the manhwa, but here I am. I really liked his performance in the show.
And do we have a little bit of a romance budding?
It was. I love
Here a
when
little
Cha
bit. Is
gets
Cha
a little
nervous?
Yeah, bro.
Do you think I looked embarrassing holding this pickaxe in front of him?
Yes.
They're like, what are you talking about?
Who's him? Yeah, who could you? And the fact that they even asked who, like, it's
Yeah,
the
like,
only,
duh.
yeah, it's the only person who did anything here.
I
Oh,
like.
Woo Jin Chul, baby. What are you talking about?
I like.
Hunter Association bigwig.
I was just gonna say. I like the Hunter Association. You know.
Yeah, I would
think
totally.
I would be in with them.
Yeah.
I think I would roll with them if I was super strong,
Oh,
because
yeah.
then I would be like the main guy there,
Mhm.
and also
The
like
connections
you're kind of
again
like
with-
the boss of everybody.
Yeah, you get the connections too from Go Gun Hee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely go Hunters
Great name.
Association, I think.
Go
Love
Gung
me some-
Hee.
I love
But-
me some Gogun here.
Last thing we have, well, I guess two quick things. I'll just knock them out real quick in the same sentence here. Choi wants to recruit Sung even more into the guild now after having him save his troop members. But at the same time, so does Sung Jin Woo's Aniki, Jin Ho. He's meeting with Sung. He wants to. We didn't see it on screen yet, but we assume he's going to ask Sung to join his guild. And lastly, we get a new character in Lee Min Sung, who, sorry if I spoiled it last episode because I
Yeah.
thought it was supposed to happen last episode.
I
Totally,
cracked up when
yeah,
I watched.
totally happens in this episode. So Kyle, you were absolutely right in the last recording. It was too soon, and not a big spoil, but yes,
Who cares?
we don't really know much about this guy. Apparently, it's from what it sounded like to me is that he was already kind of a big shot, whether it was like an actor or
He's an
something.
actor, yeah.
Yeah, and then he sounded like he awoke his powers, and so that's this character that we're going to be introduced to in the next episode. But yeah, kind of spoiled that a little bit for you guys on the last
That's
episode,
hilarious.
but it's fine.
And he actually
My-
is he's a recurring character because I looked him
He
up.
definitely comes back into
Yeah, so whatever.
Yeah.
Introduction.
My take on all that is that it was interesting to see Choi, the world's strongest hunter, or the human weapon, or I completely forget what his
the ultimate weapon or something.
the
like
ultimate
that.
weapon, what he said, and he even admits it here. He's like, "Nah, I guess my title is a joke now because the guy like reports basically, or
Oh,
it's Ki Hoon reports back to him, and it's like this guy's on another level. Like, could you solo an A rank dungeon? Like, no, and they're saying what this was S rank. Like, he
Yeah.
literally soloed an S rank dungeon. Sorry,
It's
about the
insane, dude.
Yeah,
I mean,
Sung is there.
like, could he do it without the army?
That's the thing.
Maybe though.
I mean, that's why it's solo leveling. It's because he can do it all, man. He can mine. He can fight the scrubs with his army.
he can mine. He can.
I mean,
he's a border.
Having the army
He can
definitely
heal.
helps. I don't.
Yeah,
I
literally.
couldn't imagine. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he walks into that arena honestly without his army and is like, I can do this with that by
Maybe
himself.
not now.
I don't. Maybe now after he got 2 level ups after beating him, maybe, but I don't think at
He
the
would
start of
need-
that fight, I think if he just were to walk into that situation, I honestly don't think he gets out of there alive without his army.
It's hard to
Yeah,
say.
I mean, it
because,
doesn't
like,
matter. I'm just saying.
No, but
Yeah,
I
no,
agree. That's a big part of it, though. Is like a big part of it is that he can summon
Yeah.
ultra strong
Yeah.
people.
Like, is he really soloing it? Also, he
Mm.
has the access to the mana potions, the stamina potions, the health potions. Like, that's glitch and a half right there.
Yeah,
Dude,
know,
it's
as well.
insane what he like. This his power is unlike any other in any anime. Like, it's like he has every trick up his sleeve, but it's not annoying. You know
No.
what I mean? You know
No.
how like sometimes when the guy's so OP, it's just like boring. Like, he's not Superman. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like you're watching and you're like, oh, I don't even care because I know he's just gonna win. Like the way he does it, the like nooks and crannies of his abilities, of his power is always so cool. Like he just always has a trick up his sleeve, and it's the best.
Yeah.
The comparison there, honestly, Dave kind of makes it with the Bleach stuff. Like the way that Ichigo kind of just so happens to have
To get the
access to
power.
like almost all of the powers in the universe is kind of like, yeah, it's a little suspect. But he like has access. He being Sung Jin Woo has access to a lot of powers. Some of them are through the army, some of them are through himself, and I think that definitely helps. And that
the poison curse
it's kind
one,
of a
we could
team.
probably agree that one's a little bit absurd in terms of just like, okay, now we're really making this guy
like
busted.
we're milking it.
Yeah, now we're milking
but
it.
the fact that he can't get drunk is funny, so it's okay with me.
It balances
That
out.
the way they present it to you is funny, so then I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Oh man, so that clears up this arc, and I mean,
We're halfway through the season, right?
Pretty much.
yeah, and so in my head, the only thing that we have left on the table in terms of like storylines now are Sung's dad, Huang, obviously, and then Jeju. I mean, those are the only couple things that are left really that they've mentioned that are where we need to go going
Looming,
forward. So
yeah.
Lot to look forward to in these upcoming episodes. Any final thoughts for you guys on this recording? As usual, classic that we thought it would be a quick recording, and here we are at the 30-minute mark.
Yeah, that's pretty much average for us. My only thing would be it's obviously this episode will come out slightly late because Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions, and I need someone out there to make me a solo leveling Sung Jin Woo Jalen Hurts edit.
Oh, that would be so cool.
I saw actually
Jalen Hurts got all the weapons just like Sung Jin Woo.
I saw
It's
actually
like her eyes, and you just see like the offensive line like come out of the ground all black and green, and then just
Jordan
ripping it.
Mailata. Oh my God, he's so funny.
Yeah.
I saw actually before the game, Twitter, Bleacher Report.
Yeah, they made him Rock Lee
and Gara.
And Gara, yeah. And
Patrick Mahomes was Gara.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes was Gara, which is actually fitting to the result.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a whiny baby.
Although Gara
Socially
definitely fought better than Mahomes did on Sunday.
And Rock Lee's the GOAT. We know that. So
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Just my anime fun fact of the day. Dave has seen it too. Sakamoto Days. It is good.
Yeah, that was Luke even said he would want to be on the podcast to cover that maybe in the future. So we'll see. But
okay, it's pretty good. I just watched 5 episodes and I'm like, where did I leave off reading? And it's like exactly where
it is.
the 5 episodes ended. And
It's been good.
I think I might just wait for the season to end and just keep watching it because I've been enjoying watching it.
Yeah, that has been good. Check out Sakamoto Days. It's on Netflix. But that's going to be it for today's episode coverage of Solo Leveling. If you like what you heard, give Bingetown TV a follow on all of our socials. Be sure to join our Discord, which is going to be linked in our episode description below. Chat with us about anything that you're watching or anything that you are currently watching by yourself and want us to know about. We're also going to ask for you to check out our newest Bingetown TV feeds called The Core, which covers all of the newest and hottest Apple TV shows currently covering Severance, as well as Binge Empire, which is currently covering Dexter. And then the last feed we have is the Unreal podcast, which is currently covering Traitors. Lastly, for our podcast catalog, check out bingetowntv.com. There's a nice alphabetical list of all the shows we've ever covered on there, so it's going to be the best place for you to hear all of our podcast coverages. Once again, we are the Final Form Podcast, and thank you so much for listening.
Go Birds.
Kyle, what are you doing for the parade?